Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Is it right?
Yeah, it cuts you off right about at your lower waist, your waist.
Yeah, that's okay. But there's enough room?
Yeah, that much.
Okay. Jai Suparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Statarasata Shri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Nama Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshai Kshiptascha Kamari Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapannam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. And especially with the coming Julan Yatra and Disappearance Day of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams at his divine lotus feet and praying for his causeless mercy. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Hyam Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanas Trinandantair Idam Yache Punah Punah Srimad Rupa Padam Boja Dulishyam Janma Jani. Yesterday, we began to read the small booklet about Srila Rupa Goswami's glories, which has been compiled by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami. Verse, Anarpita charim chirat kurunayavatirna kalo Samarpaitum unatojvala rasam svabhakti shriyam Hari purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita Sada hridaya kandare spuratu va sachinandanaha. This is a very essential verse composed by Srila Rupa Goswami, and it is given as the second verse, introductory verse to his great drama titled Vidagdha Madhava. And when our Gurudev began to travel in the Western countries, he would quote this verse very often, and he would explain it, because without understanding this verse, it is not possible to properly understand why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this Kali Yuga. Why the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, took the form, the golden color, of Srimati Radharani and her moods, her bhavs, and he appeared 500 years ago in Mayapur, Navadvip, West Bengal, India. So, here, this verse is the jewel, one of the jewels of the hundreds of jewels of Srila Rupa Goswami that he composed. So this verse is like the fourth or fifth verse quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita as an invocation verse for the entire book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, yes, first of all, we have to understand who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. And then we have to understand why he appeared in this world. He appeared for various reasons, and that's very essential for any devotee to understand. Some of those reasons are called his internal reasons, and some are called his external reasons, or external, in the very beginning of the great work. Have you had a chance to read Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Not all, but a little bit of actually the reasons why Mahaprabhu came.
Just in the beginning portions, not any of the other.
There is a part that is like very
amazing literature. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he told that there has never been a book like Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that has seen the light of day as this book. And all of our acharyas like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada, they all relished and tasted this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And our Gurudev, he used this as the basis of his preaching in the Western countries to begin to present so many of these very important topics for the whole Vaishnava community. So, this verse, we read something about it yesterday, and how Srila Gurudev was explaining. So, I'm going to read the translation to this verse again. May Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, manifest himself within your heart. It has been a long time that he had not bestowed that most excellent, exalted, radiant, conjugal mellow, Ujjvala Rasa on the world. And so, he has mercifully descended in the age of Kali to bestow the wealth of devotional service unto himself. Swabhakti. So that's the translation of this verse. So in the verse it's telling Anarpita Charim Chirat. So it begins with these words, Anarpita. Anarpita means it has not been given. Anarpita. Charim Chirat, for a very long time. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes into this very deeply, explaining what is that length of time that this has not been given in our universe. Then he explains that only once, only one time in our universe, in the day of Brahma, each one of his days are very long by our earthly calculation, yes? Do you know how long they are? One day of Brahma?
like 1,000 Chaturyuga.
That's correct. How many years would that be? It's very easy to remember. I'll explain. By the word, by the numerals 432. If you remember 432, then you can calculate this. So, as you just mentioned, a Chatur Yuga means all 4 yugas. That's one cycle, right? But how do you know how long is a Chatur Yuga? Very simple, 432. Now, I'll explain. 432 is the length of time of the Kali Yuga, which is the shortest of the 4 yugas, right? 432,000 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the Dwapara Yuga is double that number. The Treta Yuga is triple that number, and the Satya Yuga is quadruple that number, right? So quadruple, triple, and doubling. That makes 9. That's also 4, 3, 2. 4 times, 3 times, and 2 times. And then the last one is 1, Kali Yuga. You catch that? Did you know that, Hansagati? By the numbers 4, 3, 2, you can easily remember and easily calculate. Now, that's 10 times 432,000. 10 times 432,000 is the length of 1 Chatur Yuga. So what's 10 times 432,000?
403.
Yeah.
420,000.
It's actually 4 million, right? 4,320,000. So 432. Then when you take that number, 4,320,000, which is 1 Chatur Yuga, and you multiply that times 1,000, as you already told, because Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that 1 day of Brahma is Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Sahasra means 1,000. So 1,000 cycles of the yugas, hours, is Brahma's day. And then Krishna also says, and similarly, the same length of time is his night.
But is that also changing with yugas, the night?
No, it's the same 12 hours, the same length of time. So when you want to know the 24 hours of Brahma's day and night, then you first of all, you calculate the length of Anarpita Charim Chirat. Has not been given for Charim Chirat, means very long time. And how long? 8,640,000,000 years. In our universe, this, what Sachinandan Gaurhari descended to give, it has not been given for this very, very long time, since his previous appearance in the previous day of Brahma. Every day of Brahma, we've learned from the beginning, from Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna appears. Krishna, Shyama Sundar, the son of Maharaj Nanda, he appears in every day of Brahma. One time only he appears. So, now, Karunayavatirna Kalo, that means out of his causeless mercy, Karuna. He has avatirna kalo, he has appeared in Kali Yuga. Samarpaitum, now samarpaitum means to give. So, that which has not been given for a very long time, by his causeless mercy, he is appearing to give what? Unnata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti. This is the commodity that he came to give. Very clearly stated. Unnata Ujvala Rasa Sva Bhakti Shriya. So Gurudev has been explaining this line, as we read yesterday, that ultimately Swabhakti means his own bhakti. But that Swabhakti is also referring to who? The ultimate personification of Mahabhav Prem, Srimati Radharani. She is Swabhakti. And her bhakti, okay, her Unnata Ujvala Prem Rasa, Unnata Ujvala, Unnata means very elevated. And Ujvala means very radiant. Very radiant. Ujvala, shining. Unnata Ujvala, radiant, elevated, what? Unnata Ujvala Rasa. So that Unnata Ujvala Rasa is... So Srila Gurudev has explained this. I've been with him on his early tours, where he very explicitly spelled this out for everyone to understand. And it's very essential to know this, that this Unnata Ujjvala Rasa, it cannot be given to the jivas. This is the only in the domain of Srimati Radhika and her own Kaya Vyuha. Okay? The jivas are constitutionally not capable of directly this Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. So then, how do they receive it? Here, Srila Rupa Goswami has written this into this verse as the last word of this line. Samarpaitum Unnatojjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam. So that's Krishna's primary reason for coming as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to experience and taste her praying. There are three aspects of her praying. There's one verse also written by Swarup Damodar Goswami, where he's explaining those three different aspects of her praying that he wanted to experience, Krishna wanted to. So therefore he took the golden color and the moods, Bhav and Kanti of Srimati Radharani. So that's Krishna. He's coming for his own purposes because he's Rasika Shekhar. All rasa. So Krishna, he experienced that by dancing with the gopis, by engaging in all of his sweet pastimes in Vrindavan when he was on the planet 5,000 years ago. But now, 500 years ago, he's reappearing in this golden form to now experience and taste Srimati Radhika's praying directly. So in order to do that, manifest all these ecstasies. All of Gaur Leela is filled with that in his Navadvip Leela. And then after taking sannyas, then he stationed himself in Jagannath Puri, and now he went deeper and deeper and deeper into the ocean of separation mood. He was always tasting separation mood, but now he's also demonstrating to the jivas by taking sannyas. That Leela is to help the jivas also, so that they can understand how they can come into this realm. So, back to the word Shriyam, beauty. Do you know what is the beauty of Srimati Radhika's praying, of her Unnata Ujjvala Ras? What is the beauty of that? The example is given by Krishnadas Kaviraj, and Gurudev is repeating it here, that just like a vine, a creeper, right, a lata, a prem lata, so Srimati Radhika's form, her body, and all of her, the flowers like that, and the leaves of that vine. Otherwise the vine is not beautiful. So they assist Srimati Radhika in manifesting this ultimate beauty of her Unnata Ujjvala Prem Ras. But the jivas, they can come to the level of assisting those gopis. They cannot become those prominent gopis, but they can become their dasis, their assistants. See? So the moods of assisting and serving the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika as a Palyadasi, as a manjari. Manjari also means like a new bud. Like a tulsi tree has manjaris that come, the buds, which later turn into flowers. So in this way, the word Shriyam is added to this verse, because this is what Mahaprabhu came to give. He did not come to give Unnata Ujjvala Rasa of Srimati Radhika. That cannot be given to the jivas. But he came to give the beauty of that, Shriyam. So in a cryptic way, Rupa Goswami has written what this mood of Palyadasi Bhav, this mood of Parakiya Ras. Gurudev is going to begin to explain that. So, who is explaining this? Who is giving this on behalf of Mahaprabhu? Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami himself is writing this. He is revealing this. This is his role because Rupa Goswami in the Goloka Vrindavan, he is none other than the leader of all of the manjaris as Rupa Manjari and direct expansion of the body of Srimati Radhika. So that personality has descended along with Mahaprabhu as all of his other associates also came to assist in his pastimes. Just as Krishna, when he descends from Goloka Vrindavan, his father, his mother, his elderly gopis, his young gopis, his cowherd friends, cows, trees, Govardhan Hill, everything comes down from the spiritual world. And in the same exact way, in that spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan, one portion of the inner circle of Goloka Vrindavan is called Shveta Dvip, where Sachinandana Gaura Hari, in that exact golden form, is eternally performing his pastimes there and relishing and tasting Srimati Radhika's prem. And the gopis have taken all these different male forms to assist in the tasting of the Nam Sankirtan. Through the chanting of the holy names, this is tasted fully. So Gurudev is saying that even though Sri Krishna, who is the original source of all incarnations, he is endowed with 6 opulences. So we talked about that yesterday, the 6 opulences. Who has told that Krishna is the original source of all incarnations? How do we know that? Shukadeva Goswami, the Srimad Bhagavatam, they have all told, and Lord Brahma himself in the Brahma Samhita has also told, as that he is Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nana Avatara Makaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Krishna is the original source of all incarnations. He is endowed with 6 opulences. And Gurudev is saying, but he is also Rasika Shekhar. Not only is he the source of all incarnations and full of 6 opulences, but he is Rasika Shekhar. Oh, the supreme enjoyer of rasa. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiva Ki Jai. Yes, so during his manifest pastimes in this world, Krishna, he personally tasted all the 12 rasas. How will we know what those 12 rasas are? Because Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami. He taught him directly for 10 days. And Rupa Goswami wrote all the books. He empowered him. And he wrote the whole science of Bhakti Rasa. What's the title of that book? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And Prabhupada translated it as what?
The nectar of devotion.
Yes. So, during his manifest pastimes in this world, he personally tasted the 12 rasas, such as the mellow of Madhur Rasa, conjugal love. But he did not give that prem to the living beings of the world. Therefore, in the first portion, in the Sandhya of the Kali Yuga, Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari, who is a manifestation of Sri Krishna, when he is a manifestation of Krishna, when he is adorned. He is adorned, he's decorated with the mood, the bhav, and the kanti, the splendor of Sri Radha. He appeared in order to bestow the beauty known as Shri or Shobha of the most radiant mellow of conjugal love, Unnata Ujvala Rasa, upon the living beings of this world. So now, the next section, Parakya Bhav, the mood of Paramur love. Unnata Ujvala Ras indicates Parakiya Bhav. Did you know that? That mood, that highest prem, it indicates Parakiya Ras. What does Parakiya mean? Do you know?
That something is not belonging to someone.
Parakiya means like if a woman has another lover beside her husband.
Yeah. But
right?
It's not the...
That's called paramour in English.
But it's not the mundane lover stuff, like it's just Radha and Krishna is their spiritual love. It's not, it doesn't have to do with the cheating of, ordinary men and women.
No. Now you're learning something. In Parakiya Rasa, the gopis are always cheating. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They're cheating their husbands. They're cheating their in-laws. Because in the material world, that's going to be explained by Gurudev. This Parakiya Rasa is pervertedly reflected, right? And it is very degraded, actually. But and this is one of the contributions that Rupa Goswami made. We'll be hearing this. He clarified this very specifically. How Krishna, who is the supreme hero, Srimati Radhika, who is the supreme heroine, and all of her expansions, they are completely pure and transcendental. There's not one single touch of mundane lust in them. This is the highest, most radiant. That's why it's called Ujjvala Ras. Ujjvala means radiant, shining. The beauty of that ras, that splendor of that rasa, is what Rupa Goswami was empowered by Mahaprabhu to give in this world, to explain what is the love of Radha and Krishna and the gopis and all. And that means Parakiya Bhav, the mood of paramour love. But it's completely pure. And this is what has to be understood. This is what Gurudev is introducing in the very beginning of this book. So, these moods of paramour love, Unnata Ujjvala Ras, it is only present in the hearts of Sri Radhika Ji and the gopis, who are her direct expansions, Kaya Vyuha Swarup. Their ecstatic emotions, known as bhavs, they include Madanakya Bhav and Rudha Bhav. Now those two terms, very often Gurudev would cite them. He would not explain them too much extensively, but somewhat he would explain. Because in the realm of Mahabhav, which is the highest, there are also different levels of Mahabhav. And the ultimate limit of those levels of Mahabhav is called Madanakya Mahabhav and also Rudha Bhav. So, their ecstatic emotions, whose? Radha, Krishna, and the gopis. Their ecstatic emotions, known as bhavs, which include Madanakya Bhav and so forth, they cannot be given to any jiva, any living being. They cannot be given. However, it is possible that the beauty, the Shri or the Shobha of their Bhav, that can be given. That's why, as we already went over the verse, Unnata Ujjvala Rasa Svabhakti Shriyam, Rupa Goswami has explained that he's the Shriyam of that Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. It is very essential to understand this point. Yeah, so Sri Radhika, the embodiment, her body is Ladini Shakti, Krishna's pleasure potency. So she is the embodiment of Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of the Lord. And she is the desire creeper of love, the Prem Kalpalata. Prem Kalpalata, the desire tree, the creeper, like a vine of this highest love. That is what her body is. So the gopis are her leaves and flowers and her manjaris, or the buds. The manjaris, the buds, they are the beauty of all of them. Just as in the breeze, these manjaris further enhance the beauty of the creeper. So, the confidential female servitors of Sri Radhika Ji, such as Sri Rupa Manjari and others, they enhance the beauty of Sri Radhika. Sri Krishna has appeared in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only to bestow the moods of those manjaris, which is known as Manjari Bhav. He has appeared in the form of Mahaprabhu to bestow the moods of those manjaris, which is known as Manjari Bhav, to the living beings of the world through the medium of Srinam Sankirtan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's innermost desire was to preach the Paramur Mood Parakya Bhav. That is what he came internally. His strongest desire was to preach that. Indeed, by the Lord's inspiration and mercy, Sri Rupa Goswami fulfilled this innermost desire of the Lord. Now listen to this. Before the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before he came into this world, the people, general people, they would look contemptuously upon this most effulgent Paramur mood, Unnata Ujjvala Parakya Bhav of Sri Krishna and the gopis. Understand that point? Contemptuously. They would look at it as, oh, this is very degraded. You see? They had completely not understood one iota of this. So, prior to his advent, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the people would look in that way upon these moods. This Unnata Ujjvala Parakya Bhav of Sri Krishna and the gopis. They did not understand it. Even today, there are so many people. They think, oh, Krishna is licentious. He's just lusty, and the gopis are lusty. And they think like an ordinary lusty boy and girl. But it is nothing like that at all. So, however, with strong scriptural arguments, Srila Rupa Goswami established that Parakya Bhav between the heroic lover Sri Krishna and his beloved heroines, the gopis, is the most auspicious, pure, and elevated mellow. That's what Rupa Goswami established, with all Shastric reference, everything. That this is the most elevated of all rasas. Yes. So in his book called Ujjvala Nilamani, Srila Rupa Goswami states, so this book, Ujjvala Nilamani, let me say a couple of words about this book. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
You know what this book is?
In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami didn't explain so much about Madhurya Rasa.
Yes.
That's what he wrote.
He wrote an entire separate, it's like considered to be like the sequel of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And it's very, very large work. And there he goes completely only in the Madhurya Rasa. So he's also composed many, many shlokas to give, definitions of different terminologies. So here now, Gurudev is quoting the verse written by Rupa Goswami. Lagutvam atrayat proktam tattu prakrita nayake. Na Krishne rasa niryasa Swadartam avatarani. Here's the translation it means. The defect of the paramour mood that is described in Rasa Shastras, which delineate the science of drama. They're called Natya Shastras. They tell the science of how to perform dramas and how to express emotions, right? But those books are applicable to the mundane hero, not to Sri Krishna. So here in this verse, Rupa Goswami is saying that this defect of the paramour mood that is described in those Natya Shastras, which delineate the science of drama, it is applicable to a mundane hero, not to Sri Krishna himself. Then he says, he is Sarva Avatari. He is the source of all incarnations. He is also the crest jewel of these incarnations, and all of which control religion. These incarnations of the Lord, they control dharma and adharma, religion and irreligion. So since the incarnations are not controlled by dharma and adharma, then how is it possible that Sri Krishna, who is their source, would be influenced? Sri Krishna, he accepted the paramour mood known as Upapati Bhav. That means having another husband. Upapati Bhav. He accepted this. Krishna accepted the paramour mood known as Upapati Bhav with the desire of tasting rasa, the sweetness of transcendental loving relationships. He is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. He who is the origin of everyone. He is himself without any external cause or origin. He is all-powerful, and he is the reservoir of all pleasure, Akil Rasamrita Sindhu. The gopis, what are they? If Krishna is all these things, then what are the gopis? The gopis are, as quoted from the Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabis Tabir Yaeva Nijarupa Taya Kalabhi. These gopis, they represent Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, meaning that the gopis' forms, their forms, are submerged in the nectar of the effulgent mellow of the pinnacle of divine love. That's what their bodies and forms are made of. Moreover, being the personal expansions and the counterparts of Sri Krishna, they embody the functions of his pleasure potency, Ladini Shakti. They embody that. They are just like Srimati Radhika is the embodiment of Ladini Shakti, also the gopis. So, therefore, where this Sri Krishna is the hero and these gopis are the heroines, how can there be any defect in this mood of paramour love that exists between them? There cannot be any defect. Now, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gurudev is quoting Adi Leela chapter 4, as I just told before. This is the beginning of the chapter, verse 15 and 16. So, these two verses are very, very important verses. So we're reading them and we'll try to understand. Prem ras niryas korite asvadan, rag marg bhakti loke korite pracharan. Rasika Shekar Krishna Parama Karuna E Dui Hetu Hoite Ichar Udgama. So the translation. The supremely Rasik and merciful Sri Krishna, he desired to appear in this world to taste the essence of the mellow of divine love. and to propagate Rag Marga Bhakti, devotional service based on the platform of spontaneous attraction. This is the two reasons why Krishna appears in this world. So Srila Rupa Goswami cites the following evidence from scriptures, such as Srimad Bhagavatam, that details this Parakya Bhav of the gopis. So I'm reading, there's a list here given by Gurudev of 9 different verses he's citing, where Rupa Goswami is citing this evidence from different scriptures that detail, that explain this Parakya Bhav of the gopis. This first one is from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10, chapter 29, which is the first chapter of the Ras Lila. So, Ta Varyamana Patibi Pitribir Bratar Bandhubi. This is saying the gopis did not stop despite being restrained by their husbands, fathers, brothers, and other relatives. This is directly quoted from 10th canto. What is this describing? Do you know? That the gopis did not stop. They did not stop doing what?
Their household affairs.
No.
Oh, sorry, going to
Krishna because they heard what? Yes, they heard the sound of his flute and they became mad. And even though their husbands, their fathers, their brothers, and their other relatives were trying to restrain them, they could not be restrained. They left. So that's the first evidence being cited about what? Parakya Bhav. Second one, this is also from the 29th chapter, verse 20. Bratarak patayascha va vichinvanti. Being unable to see you, your mothers, fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, and relatives must be searching for you. So, who told this?
Benugit?
No.
No.
No. So here, who's telling these words? Being unable to see you, your mothers, fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, and relatives must be searching for you.
Ah, Krishna.
Yes, he's telling it to
To go back.
the gopis when they first arrived. And he was standing there underneath the Vamshi Vata tree. So what Krishna is telling is also supporting this Parakya Ras. They're leaving their husbands, fathers, brothers, everything. But Krishna is telling, no. They're trying to find you. They must be searching for you. You should go back. Okay. Now the third one is also this is now from the 31st chapter. Still Ras Lila chapter. This is from the Gopi Gita. Pati Sutan Vaya Bratar Bandhavan Ativi Langaya Te. So here the gopis are singing their song to Krishna because they can't find him. He's disappeared. And they're telling to Krishna, "Oh Achyuta, we have come here to you, overstepping our husbands, children, ancestors, brothers, relatives, and the boundaries of morality and of propriety, of respectability and chastity." Well, how can you get more direct than this? The gopis are directly telling that they have left everything for him. This is called Parakya Ras, yes? This is Parakya. Upapati Bhav. Then the fourth verse being cited is also from the Ras Lila chapter, 10th canto, chapter 32. And this is where Krishna has now again reunited with the gopis after they sang the Gopi Gita, and he's speaking to them. Evam mad arto jita loka veda svanam hi. O girls, for my sake, you have abandoned worldly obligations, Vedic principles, and even your near and dear relatives. For my sake. This is how Krishna is now glorifying the gopis. And he's directly saying, you've abandoned all of this for me. Then the fifth quote from the same chapter, the next verse. Krishna says, Na parayeham niravadya samyujam svasadu krityam vibudayu shapiva. O gopis, you have worshipped me even after breaking the shackles of household life that are difficult to overcome. He's glorifying them and saying, I can never repay you. Then, later on in chapter 47 of the 10th canto, is being described by Uddhava. Nayam Shriyonga Unitanta Rate Prasada. Here, Uddhava is glorifying the gopis and he's saying, during the Ras Leela, Bhagavan Sri Krishna showed mercy to the gopis and he fulfilled their desires by placing his arms around their necks. Such mercy was not obtained even by Lakshmi Devi, who always resides on his chest. And then he quotes the verse that Uddhava spoke, his prayer, his desire to take birth in Vrindavan as a leaf, as a bush. Asamaho charanarenu jashamaham syam Vrindavane kemapi gulmalato shadhinam Ya dustyajan svajanam arya patam shahitava Bejur mukunda patavim shudibir vimrigyam. So Uddhava says, although the boundaries of Vedic etiquette and custom regarding husbands, sons, and relatives are so difficult to give up, these gopis have abandoned them and have obtained the love of Sri Krishna that is searched for by even the Shrutis, the Vedic hymns, in order to continuously receive the foot dust of these gopis. I desire to take birth here in Vrindavan in the form of a bush, creeper, or herb. So the implication of this statement is that the damsels of Braja, they possess love that is far superior even to that of Rukmini Devi and the other queens of Sri Krishna. And then for the last quote, this is from the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, and it is the Gopal mantra. Here is stating Gopi Janna Ballabhaya Svaha. The phrase Gopi Janna Ballabha, meaning the beloved of the gopis, which is found in the Gopal mantra and other mantras, it is emblematic of the Paramore mood, Parakiya Bhav. So, other than in Sri Ujjvala Nilamani, Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned the Parakiya mood of the gopis in the dramas Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava, as well as in books such as Hamsadutta and Dan Keli Komudi. So Gurudev has just now presented these quotations coming from Rupa Goswami to prove the Parakiya Ras. And he did that. And then he wrote these other books which completely manifested this. So now we're just beginning to hear all these transcendental specialities of Srila Rupa Goswami. We'll continue tomorrow to read the remainder of this small introduction to Gurudev's book, The Distinctive Contribution of Srila Rupa Goswami. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo